Sometimes when you play a game, it latches itself onto your brain. You find yourself thinking about it on the bus, at work, or falling off a cliff. For me, as you can probably tell by the title and my clothes and this poster, that game for me is Uncharted 4. So hopefully in this video that I've just started, it's my first one, it's been 30 seconds, just bear with me, I don't know what's going to happen yet. I want to talk about it. I want to maybe talk about where it came from, where it's been, on the bus. Just kind of a whole general thing. Like I said, 30 seconds, don't know what I'm doing. Should probably get to it. Read whiteboard, something.
Right from the beginning, before you even start the story, this game sets up the tone for you perfectly.
Oh, spoilers, by the way, all the spoilers. I'm going to spoil this game. From the beginning of the game to the end of the game, I'm going to spoil this game. If you haven't seen this game, go play the game. If you have seen this game, I mean, if you're not enjoying yourself, then you can leave. But please stay. Spoilers.
If we have a look at the first three opening screens of the Uncharted trilogy, it's the perfect setup for what you're about to embark on.
Action! Adventure! Ultimate snark!
And if that doesn't get you hyped for your treasure quest, then you are insane. Now, if we take a look at the title screen of 4, it really conveys that this is a completely different game that we're playing. Look at this poor bugger just swinging about. Bless him. Anyway, it's amazing, and I really want to take a minute just to explain how we got here. Uncharted started life after its developer Naughty Dog had just finished their latest game, Jak 3. For their next project, they really wanted to veer away from the cartoony style they'd always adopted with Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter, and decided to go for a more photorealistic approach. So they gathered their most talented staff and got to work. Eventually, we were introduced to Uncharted as we know it, clearly inspired by the likes of Indiana Jones and other adventure epics. Its innovative style and characters interacting with each other during gameplay really made the characters feel like they could exist. It wasn't something we saw a lot back then. It hasn't really been done better since by anyone but Naughty Dog. After 3 games and 3 lost cities, with a third being in 2011, we thought we had seen the last of Mr. Drake and his band of thievy rebel friends, but then in 2013 we were all treated to a look at the new entry in the franchise. This teaser seems to show a completely different plot to the one we eventually got. After some digging...
Get it? Treasure. Digging.
After some digging of my own, I found out that the original creative director and writer for the first 3 Uncharted games, Amy Hennig, suddenly left the project after 8 months of work, leading her to be replaced by The Last of Us directors Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley. This is where I believe the shift in tone comes into play, as they really take the innovation of The Last of Us and combine it with an Uncharted style. This apparently led to 8 whole months of mocap, voice work and parts of the script being completely scrapped, which led to actors like Alan Tudyk, who played an unknown role, and Todd Stashwick, who was the original actor for Sam Drake, leaving the project. This is when international man of voices Troy Baker took his place. It's not clear what direction the original version of this game was like, but what we do know given the original trailer is that Sam Drake was supposed to be the main antagonist. This would have been a completely different version of the game we got today, but honestly I think it turned out perfect the way it did. This shift in tone really helps when it comes to taking characters we're already so familiar with after 3 games and adds even more dimension to them. It feels less like an epic adventure for the sake of treasure this time and goes even deeper and darker. It feels so much more personal.
But make no mistake, the adventure is still as epic as always.
The game starts by implementing one of my favourite storytelling techniques.
In medias res!
In medias res refers to the technique of beginning the narrative at a late point in the story after much action has already taken place. Often exposition is bypassed and filled in gradually, eventually leading to a satisfying how they got their moment.
So, you fight your way through these unknown soldiers, on boats, and eventually find yourself being smashed into the past. You learn that before El Dorado and Shambhala, Nathan Drake was one half of the Brothers Drake, on a quest to find the long-lost treasure of infamous pirate Henry Avery. He's hidden it away after the famous Gunsway heist. Now, I absolutely love pirates, so having a whole story dedicated to not just a treasure hunt, but a pirate treasure hunt is thrilling to me. We're then introduced to antagonist and winner of the 2016 Best Villain Name Award, Rafe Adler, who is by far the best villain in the series so far. Drake! After some complications and Rafe living up to his namesake, he sets off a chain of events that leads to Sam Drake being, in brackets, murdered, and Nathan Drake eventually swearing off the hunt and moving on with his life. 15 years later, Brother Drake returns, actually having not been killed and being locked up the whole time. As it turns out, he was broken out by Hector Alcazar, a notorious kingpin who was still bitter about coming second in the 2016 Villain Awards. Thinking Avery's treasure will remedy this, he breaks Sam out and demands that he have half.
You don't understand, Hector. Money won't buy you a better name.
For this, he'll need Nate to help him, and he reluctantly agrees, but decides not to tell his wife, which I can't help but feel that will come back to bite him somehow. Huh. And that's it. That is the setup to A Thief's End. So now all that is out of the way, here are some things that I absolutely love about this game. First of all, the graphics are just mind-blowing. I know graphics are pretty much always quite impressive nowadays, but just look at this. Just look at it. It's absolute madness. The world building in this game is also just brilliant. They take parts of the source material, in this case the source material is the actual real life and history of pirates, and they change things around just enough for you to believe that some of this could actually happen. The way they slowly unveil parts of the mystery, carefully rolling out important pieces of the puzzle, keeps you engaged and wanting to soak up every scrap of lore this world has to offer. Wouldn't you love to live in a world where the world's most famous pirates and Guybrush Threepwood team up to build a pirate society on an island off the coast of Madagascar? Don't say no. You're just going to make yourself look like a fool. Who's going to say no to that? Seriously. All of this is made even better with the score, swapping out Greg Edmonson's amazing work with the Uncharted trilogy for Henry Jackman's more simplistic and haunting feel. It really informs the more serious side of Uncharted. The same goes for combat sections as well. Sometimes the score perfectly sums up what you're about to do, which is usually jumping off something and punching someone in the face. Speaking of the old combat, this time around Nathan Drake has the option of stealth. This is a fun new feeling in a game that's largely been based around shoot at everything until it stops moving, and now instead of mercilessly killing someone, you have the option to put them to sleep instead.
Night night, sweet prince.
Firefights feel fluid and epic with tons of things around each area, so you can swing, punch, shoot and hit sweet flying forearms on your way to victory. When you've cleared the place of goons, you feel a sense of relief and accomplishment, and also just real cool. Nolan North and Troy Baker teaming up to voice main characters in an Uncharted game is just as amazing as it sounds. Combine this with the writing talents of Druckmann and co-writer from Uncharted 1 and 2, Josh Scher, and it's the perfect storm of talent that really ties together one of the best games of all time. The relationship between these brothers is just so good. You get the sense that each has their own baggage from years gone by. Nathan's in two minds, secretly happy to be back in the fray of his past, but also knowing that it's more about saving his brother this time, all while trying to do it all in time to get back for dinner from his unknowing wife, while Sam, having been in prison this whole time, has taken on the role almost as a younger brother. While he's definitely happy about his brother carrying on the Drake legacy, he wants to prove himself and is desperate to live out this mission his family started. He now represents who Nathan Drake used to be, and occasionally needs to be reined back in. This is the longest Uncharted yet, which means you get a good chunk of time with these characters and everyone involved really gets their time to shine. While maybe not as many quote-unquote epic set pieces as previous entries, there's a massive focus on exploration. There's one part in particular where it really opens up, and there's a good couple of hours you can spend just hunting for trinkets. It's amazing to see Uncharted really take hold of what it's known for, going that extra step. Naughty Dog really proved that they are at the top of their game. No pun intended. One thing that has always frustrated me in games is when dialogue is going on and you're walking through a level and then you trigger an event in the main plot and it cuts off whatever is being said at the time, and we never get to hear what was going on. Well, fear not, because in this game, when in the middle of whatever anecdote or witticism is being told and or said, they'll stop to inform the plot and literally just say something like, oh anyway, what was I saying? And they'll go back to the original dialogue. This may seem like a small detail, but this meant everything to me. All games need to employ this mechanic, because if I wasn't immersed in this game already, that one little thing completely swallowed me into this world. Okay, so I've gone on probably about 7 years too long about how good this game is, and I'm almost done. Just bear with me a couple more minutes and we'll finish up the plot. This game ended up meaning a great deal to me. It just hit that part of my brain that makes you want to go questing for treasure and otherworldly MacGuffins. Right, so here we go. After trials and tribulations, many a bullet being shot, many a soldier being killed, and swinging your way through all kinds of locations, you find yourself back where the game started, on the island where you discover the long-lost pirate utopia of Libertalia. Things take a turn for the worst, and it's revealed that Sam has actually been out of prison for years, helping Rafe hunt for the treasure after he released him from the prison. What? You're reunited with your wife, still reeling from the fact that you'd fallen off the treasure wagon, and you team up like the good old times, if not under slightly different circumstances. Finally, you end up in New Devon, the main homestead of the Pirate Lords, and you make your way through the aftermath of what happens when the Pillagers of the Seas team up. The game is amazing at making you feel like you really earn the moments that are scattered throughout the story. That moment of discovery when you find the remains of these famous pirates and Gabrish Threepwood, it's moments like these that really make this game what it is, seemingly grandiose discoveries with close and personal meanings to these characters. So a few mind-blowing areas and one stubborn Drake later, you find out that, surprise surprise, the treasure was in the giant creepy mountain in the centre of the island this whole time. Along the way you discover that Joseph Burns, whose granddad's letter you find at the beginning of the game and who you learnt thanks to the letters scattered throughout the game, had been on his own quest, met his fate just yards from his goal. Knowing that these pirates had been here this whole time undiscovered is tragically fascinating to me, and I know that they're not actually there, but wouldn't it be cool? No? Just me? Anyway, you finally find Henry Avery's ship. The moment you've been inching towards, you've heard stories and thought you were in arm's reach of the treasure in Scottish caves and Kings Bay tunnels, but it turns out it was an Avery's ship under a mountain this whole time. This is a thieves' end. You make your way through the ship, fight for your life, and as usual, lose the gold, but this time it doesn't matter, because saving your brother's life was the goal. This brings a close to Nathan Drake's story. You play through an epilogue which for fans of this franchise who grew with these characters is incredibly satisfying. And finally, the credits roll.
And there we go. Like I said, there was a lot going on here. It's been a year since it wouldn't stop. I had to. I bought a camera just to get out. But maybe now we can all move on until we play The Lost Legacy, which is also good. If you liked the video, if you were entertained or informed or want to subscribe to me just to see how stupid my videos are, really stupid. I don't know what future content's going to be like. Obviously this was just me gushing about Uncharted 4. I'd imagine from now on my videos would be a bit more critical, because there was none of that this time. Didn't really want to say a bad thing about it. Spent money on this. Why would I buy a poster and then say bad things about the game I bought the poster for? Doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. I know reviews are meant to be fair, but... So, just press the... if I